Hello, I'm Thomas. In this two-part video, we're going to be installing a SteerStopper on a bicycle with a Quill stem, and in the second part, we're going to be installing the universal fit receiver. So let's have a look over here at the tools we're going to need. We're going to need a hammer of some type, a block of wood, masking tape, a nut driver with a 7mm or 9/37 socket, some cutters, Allen wrenches, and if you have them, torque wrenches. Also, we're going to need 100 grit sandpaper and a good old-fashioned fingernail file. So in your SteerStopper kit, you've got your SteerStopper with the silicone tape. You have the universal fit receiver. We have the spacer that reduces it down to quill stem size. We have the brake application device and a 1.5mm Allen wrench. So let's get started. The first thing you're going to want to do is stabilize your bike. I've got a click stand. I've got the front wheel bungeed in a straight ahead position so it won't get out of control. I'm going to go ahead and install the brake application device. Just keep the bike even a little bit more stable while we're installing this. So before we start removing things, you're going to want to take your SteerStopper and set it on the top of that nut. What we're doing here is marking where what the stem height currently is. So when we put this all back together, it'll be in the same spot. And this is 10mm or 3/8 of an inch. I've got the tape a little high, but that's okay. Okay. We're going to take a 6mm Allen wrench, loosen this bolt a few turns. If this has not been taken out for some time, it might be seized in there, in which case you'd want to use a block of wood and just give it a little tap with a hammer to break it loose. This one has been recently taken apart, so I'm not going to do that. So we're going to pull the quill stem out and install the spacer with the slot facing forward. And bring it up to our masking tape. Going to reinstall the stem down into the steerer tube. Get everything lined up. I like to have these slots lined up as much as possible. Doesn't have to be exact, but okay, at this point we can go ahead and tighten the stem, tighten the quill, and then we're going to tighten the SteerStopper. SteerStopper gets torqued to 30 inch-pounds. Let's make sure it lands dead center on the top tube. I'm just going to hold it there. So it gets torqued to 30 inch-pounds or 3.4 Newton meters. If you don't have a torque wrench, you would spin this bolt in freely by hand, and when it stops, then you go another 1/8 of a turn, and that will be roughly 30 inch-pounds. Okay, that concludes installing the SteerStopper on the quill stem. So now we'll start with the universal fit receiver. So, universal fit receiver has to fit many different shapes of top tube. So what we have to do is sand this. We're going to find out where this is going to land on the tube by placing the ball in there. So this one is going to land right at about the 2 of this 2.8. So we want to place the sandpaper over that, and remember that we're going to be sanding where that 2 is. So I've already done this, but this, you're going to sand this back and forth. It took me about 5 minutes to do this one. Make sure you sand it evenly, that the sanding goes from edge to edge. And when you're done, it's gonna fit really nicely on the top tube. Okay, so the next step is we want to get this mounted on here so that the worm drive ends up down here at the 6 o'clock position, kind of out of the way as much as possible. So this receiver can be anywhere along this hose clamp. It slides freely until we screw that in. When that screw goes in, it will engage through these teeth, and then it will keep it from sliding anymore. So we want to get this kind of pre-positioned. So that looks, let's see, we're on the 2. Let's pull it as snug as you can. I like the position of that. This has ended up down at the bottom of the top tube. So with that, now we know that's where we want it. I'm going to take it off. Now we're going to lock this into position here. Take it all the way off. The screw will get a little bit tight as it engages these teeth. Go ahead and screw that in until it's flush. Okay, so now we have to find out where to place the tape. So we're going to get the ball right dead center in there. That's where we're going to want to mount this. So now you take your masking tape and mark where that receiver is going to go. Now, next we're going to wrap our silicone tape around there. So we'll take the silicone tape off of here. When you take it off, just be careful. It's okay to touch it with your hands, just don't let it stick back to itself. Otherwise, it's really tough to get it unstuck from itself. So the idea is here is to get a good wrap and a half. Get this to come around and just stick back onto itself. Okay, so the tape is centered there. Careful not to get your cable. There's a bright cable running on the other side here. You can't see it. You'll notice when I put this on, I've got the worm part pulled out. Then you can put it in. And tighten. So really this requires some finesse. It's a plastic clamp with a plastic worm drive screw, so you don't want to over tighten it. So just check this as you go. You'll see it doesn't require a lot of torque on that screw to get it to stop rotating. Once it doesn't rotate anymore, it's good to go. And at this point, you would want to take some cutters, cut that off as flush as you can, and then any sharp edges, corners that remain, just file them off with the nail file. Remove your tape, and you're all set to go. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy your SteerStopper.